Hello, everybody. This is Ryan Koki of the Seahawk Recap Show, and welcome to the AFC Championship game recap for the 2023-2024 playoffs. And yeah, we're already at the conference championship games, and here's the recap for the AFC. This one was an extremely good matchup, really tight, really close, and we can see who came out on top here, and it was just a very defensive battle, something that I really kind of wasn't expecting from these two teams, but here we are. Defense wins championships. But it was 17-10, a win for the Kansas City Chiefs on the road. Let's get to the Baltimore Ravens stats first. They had 336 total yards, 255 passing yards, 81 rushing yards, averaged 5.9 yards per play, 16 first downs. They went 3 for 11 on third down, went 2 for 2 on fourth down, had 57 total plays, 4 sacks allowed, 5 punts, 8 penalties for 95 yards given up, 2 fumbles lost, 1 interception thrown, and they had 22 minutes and 30 seconds of possession time. For the Kansas City Chiefs, they had 319 total yards, 230 passing yards, 89 rushing yards, averaged 4.4 yards per play, 22 first downs. They went 8 for 18 on third down, went 1 for 2 on fourth down, had 73 total plays, 2 sacks allowed, 6 punts, 3 penalties for 30 yards given up, 0 fumbles, 0 interceptions, and 37 minutes and 30 seconds of possession time. Now, for Ryan's focus players, let's talk about Lamar Jackson went 20 for 37, had 272 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. This one was in just triple coverage at the end of the game, trying to play hero ball, and it wasn't a very confident throw. It was just a throw to try and get it in the end zone to have someone jump up and get it, and it was picked off to end the game. But in carries, Lamar Jackson had 8 carries for 54 yards, averaged 6.8 yards per carry, no touchdowns, and he also had a reception in this game. Yeah, that's right. A ball was batted, I believe, by Mike Edwards, and Lamar just got it batted up in the air, and he caught his own pass and ran it for 13 yards. So, something that you don't see every day, a quarterback catching his own pass and actually getting a gain on a play. But for the running back, it wasn't a good day in the office for the run game. 3 carries, 20 yards, averaged 6.7 yards per play, 0 touchdowns for Gus Edwards. And man, this was a really surprising result from the Baltimore Ravens, considering they are one of the top rushing teams offensively in the NFL. It was just really interesting to see that the Spagnola led Chiefs defense really did a number on the run game. But let's talk about wide receiver Zay Flowers, 5 receptions, 115 yards, averaged 23 yards per reception and 1 touchdown. He also had 1 fumble in the end zone. And this is what happens with Zay Flowers is he's such a very dynamic player. I can't wait to see him grow and mature from games like this because, yes, he was upset with his fumble, but he'll mature from that mistake. He was getting a little too greedy. He also had a taunting penalty in this game, so he'll learn from his mistakes. He's still a young wide receiver, so I would still stick with him in this instance. Let's talk about the Chiefs offense. Patrick Mahomes, 30 for 39, 241 passing yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Very, very clean game from Patrick Mahomes. And Patrick Mahomes in January, man, is just something else to watch. I was doubting the Chiefs. Everyone was at the beginning of the playoffs thinking, oh, their receivers aren't that good. Da, 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 da. but Patrick Mahomes is still Patrick Mahomes, you know. Um, Betting against him is a little tricky when he is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Let's talk about running back Isaiah Pacheco, 24 carries, 68 yards, averaged 2.8 yards per carry, one touchdown. Nice to see from Isaiah Pacheco. Just another big workload for him. He's the workhorse of this Chiefs offense, and he's done very well these playoffs and all throughout the season. He carries the ball when needed, and he puts the team on his back when needed. So nice to see from Isaiah Pacheco. And let's talk about Travis Kelce. 11 receptions, 116 yards, averaged 10.5 yards per reception, the one touchdown. He is now the sole leader of receptions in the postseason, passing Jerry Rice with 152 receptions. Man, that's an accomplishment. Congrats to Travis Kelce. And, he had 11 targets in this game and 11 receptions. He did not drop a ball once. This is the kind of connection Travis Kelce has with Patrick Mahomes, and I guess the receiver woes or the tight end woes and the drop passes could be over for them. I think that is fixed, and it showed up here in this game. Let's talk about the Ravens defense, and let's talk about Justin Mbuke. Two solo tackles, four assisted, half a sack, and no forced fumbles. And this Ravens D line, the defense showed up in that second half, started being really stalwart. And part of the reason why is this defensive line, creating pressure. Even though they didn't get many sacks on Patrick Mahomes, they were still able to create pressure and try to flush him out of the pocket. It just wasn't enough for them in the end. But let's talk about DB Kyle Hamilton. And every time with this Ravens team, I have to bring up Kyle Hamilton. He's done so well from his corner safety spot. It's been great to see him play. 9 solo tackles, 2 assisted, 0 sacks, 0 interceptions, but the amount of tackles for loss. This guy was flying everywhere on the field, making hits, making sure that big gains weren't given up as easily, and making them pay for some of the throws that Patrick Mahomes made just by hitting hard this game. So good game from Kyle Hamilton. And let's talk about linebacker Raekwon Smith. 5 solo tackles, 11 assisted, 0 sacks, 0 interceptions. And Roquan Smith, man, he is such an underrated player. 26 years old, and again, just another tackling machine. You can talk about the penalties all you want with Smith and how he jumped trying to get the snap count and maybe going off sides on purpose to try and get a full set of downs so that's easier. But man, he still played really well in this game, just able to set guys down, and they were hitting hard in this game. So good game from the Ravens defense. But let's talk about the other defense, and let's talk about George Karlaftis. 3 solo tackles, 1 assisted, 1 sack, no forced fumbles. But here's the thing about George Karlaftis is that he was hunting all game long. Him, the entire defensive line for the Chiefs, pushing around these Ravens offensive linemen, and that's why the run game couldn't get established. It was so difficult to run against this Chiefs front, and to see George Karlaftis get a sack in there, get pressure on Lamar there is just so nice to see, because that's what they needed to do to win this game, is contain Lamar, and they did it, and they ended up winning the game as a result. But let's talk about DB. L'Jarius Sneed, 5 solo tackles, no assisted, no sacks, 1 forced fumble. And this forced fumble was on the Zay Flowers fumble on the goal line. And as you see in that shot, or as you saw on the field if you were watching the game, Ladarius Sneed, man, he was playing really well today. He was able to just hit the ball out, make sure that if he got beat, he would get back there, show the effort, and punch the ball out whenever he could. He was on Zay Flowers, he was on Rashad Bateman, he was on everybody this game. It felt like wherever he lined up, he was playing hard, and he really got the best of this Ravens receiving core. Linebacker Drew Treadwell, 8 solo tackles, 0 sacks, 0 interceptions. But again, Treadwell did very well. He's done very well for this linebacking core. And it's not Nick Bolton this time. It's not Nick Bolton that I'm highlighting because, 8 solo tackles, man. Another tackling machine, was everywhere on the field, was able to make plays when he needed to, and really able to stop this Ravens onslaught. The most balanced offense in the NFL with how good they're running it, with how good that the team has been playing all year. It helps to have linebackers and D linemen that can stop the run. And that was the overall game plan versus the Ravens today. So nice job from the Chiefs. My final thoughts. With this win, the Kansas City Chiefs make their 4th Super Bowl appearance in 5 seasons and are going to Super Bowl 58. Congratulations to them. Steve Spagnuolo for the Kansas City Chiefs defense played a heck of a game today against Baltimore. To only allow 10 points the entire game is something you can be extremely proud of, considering this Ravens team was one of the best and most balanced teams in the NFL this year. Sadly for the Ravens, they end their season in the AFC Championship game. Just too many undisciplined penalties and, 4 personal fouls, man, that I was counting there. There was the taunting penalty, there's the face mask penalty, and there's just a bunch of undisciplined penalties that were blatant. Like you can't make an argument against some of those penalties because they were blatant, man. And although the Ravens defense did show up to hold the Kansas City Chiefs to only 17 points, which is a miracle in and of itself, considering how good Kansas City is in the playoffs. It was ultimately the Ravens offense with the 2 fumbles and the 1 interception at the end that ultimately decided their fate in this game and their season. A disappointing way to end their season for Baltimore, but I believe they will be back next season fighting for the AFC Championship next year and wanting their revenge on the Kansas City Chiefs. But yeah, just a bunch of self-inflicted wounds, but all in all, Baltimore, this was a very good season. Let's see if you guys can show up as strong as you did this season for next season, because I believe you guys aren't done. I don't believe this team is a one and done. I still think they can be a big threat. And this is what happens. You go up against the best teams in the playoffs and you played your hearts out still. I just wish the offense for Baltimore would have shown up a little more, but again, it's the playoffs. Anyways, that is it for my conference championship game recap of the AFC Championship. I will see you in the next video as I will be recapping the NFC Championship game later on. I will see you in the next video, and I'll see you in Super Bowl 58 as well. Take care.